Oh, that's all with that. All right, good morning. Another before we go to work video here. I got a bunch of stuff to do this weekend. Might not go fishing, but at least I can talk about it a little bit before I go to work. So I figured what I was going to do was expand upon the Texas rig with the Senko, which is what I talked about in the last video, things I recommend. Super simple, cost effective, easy to fish. I'm not going to really talk so much about the fishing of it in this video because I'm in a garage, it's better to show. But I can show you the basic setup and what you need to get. All right, so first off, you need to select a hook. Two basic styles, a lot of different variations, a lot of different sizes. Two types of hooks I use the most often are this straight shank offset hook. So the lighting's not great, but you get the idea. And there's a EWG or wide gap style. If you notice the exaggerated bend in the hook. They both catch fish. I guess it's the kind of thing where you got to throw it against the wall and see what sticks for you. I do know I can say that when I buy hooks, I like hooks that have thinner wire. I've used thicker wire hooks in the past and I found that fish get off of them a lot when using this setup. So, and these come in a lot of different sizes. This would be a 4/0 size, 4/0. You can buy, and this is a 1/0 size. Use this with smaller worms, but it depends on the bait you're throwing. Sometimes I like to use a smaller hook. There's like it goes all the way up to 6/0, and then you can. I guess there's a temptation to buy the biggest thing at first because you think that's gonna get bigger fish. It doesn't necessarily work that way. In the grand scheme of things, largemouth bass are not that big, so you don't want to grab some crazy hook that's like designed to hook in, stripers or something like that. So that's hooks. The next thing you're gonna want to look for is, you're gonna also select bait, but I'll get that to the end. You're gonna need a bullet weight. This is generally what I use, a 1/16 ounce bullet weight. These are on the cheaper side. These are made by Eagle Claw. This is a 1/8 ounce bullet weight. What you don't want is casting sinkers or anything like that. These are not the right thing for this. This is for catfishing or something like that. And also there's these fancy tungsten ones that are more bullety looking. And you want to select a weight that's going to be, so the weight you want to use, I would suggest a 1/16 ounce weight. That kind of it's kind of a neutral. It doesn't sink too fast, doesn't want to sink too slow. So if you sink too fast in cloudy water, it'll go too fast with the fish, and vice versa. In clear water, if it's sinking too slow, it might not trigger the bite. So go at 1/16 ounce. It's a good starting point. And the next thing, whichever order you go in, but what are you gonna throw? This is what I throw. These are my preferred ones, the Gary Yamamoto custom baits. These are Senkos. Get these anywhere. All right, so the basic setup of the Texas rig. I was gonna make a video of me tying it and all that, but I realized that this setup is not conducive to that. But I did tie one for this video though. So this is my line. This is a 30-pound braid. There's braid, there's monofilament, there's fluorocarbon, there's a lot of different things, but I like to use braid. I won't talk about it too much in this video. There's a lot of other stuff about that. And there's my bullet weight and there's my hook. See how this weight slides on there? And you put the weight on first. Get that out of the way. Tie a knot onto your hook. I use the Palomar knot. You can look up, I might do a video of that one day, but right now you can look up Palomar knot. Very simple, super strong, works great with braid. And then you take your worm. So you find the flatter end. See, this kind of pointy, and that's kind of flat. You want to hook that in with a flat side. and slide that all the way through. Get your line out of the way until you hit that point where it's starting to bend, and you want to twist that so it ends up in the worm. So it even pulls the line in a little bit, but you see how that kind of now pops out? Because you don't want this to have a kink in it. You want it to be straight. Find out where that hook is going to come out. Right above the egg sac there. So I'm going to do a little twist there, poke it through, get it out. And then I'm going to just get that point, stretch that point, switch the worm out a little bit so that point is just stuck in there a little bit. And there you go. That's how I do a Texas rig. Very simple. And bass or pickerel, any fish that gets triggered by it, they'll bite that, it'll get in their mouth, and that little bit of the hook will pop out when they clamp down, and you feel the tension, you set the hook, that'll hook them right in the mouth. Don't wait too long to set your hook. You don't want them to swallow it. You just want it in their mouth. So you hook them clean, get the hook out, get them back in the water if you're doing catch and release. You don't really want your fish ever to swallow the hook. I mean, if you're just fishing to keep the fish, it's not such a big deal, but if you're doing catch and release, that's not ideal. But there you are. That's a Texas rig. Again, figure out what bait you're going to use. Figure out which hook, straight, or try them both. Hooks are not that expensive. If you, I would suggest anywhere from 2 to 4/0 to start off with. 2 is going to be on the small side. 4 is going to be a bit bigger. These are 4s. 4s, 3 and 4 works pretty good. A lot of different brands. Gamatsu, VMC. If you can find Bobby at Walmart, it's going to have one of these. It's been sitting on my shelf for years. One of these multi-packs from Eagle Claw, and these are pretty good too because it gives you a lot of options to see what works for you. Not the best quality, but they work. They tend to rust when they're wet, but keep them dry. It won't be a big deal. And that's basically it. So again, take that little bit of nugget of knowledge there from this weekend warrior fisherman, and see how it works. If anyone has any suggestions or if they do it differently, feel free to comment. Throw it down there. Always open to new ideas. If you think I'm totally wrong in the way I do it, I don't think I am, but if you think I am, feel free to let me know. And this setup also works for not just Senkos. I mean, you can tie on a crawl with this. You can tie on, we got a trick worm. You can tie on anything with that. So, all right. Good look out there.